The tormented mind of a child caught between vengeance and trauma in Days of Our Lives. Soap operas have long held a mirror up to human emotion, our loves, our betrayals, and the dark corridors of the mind where secrets live. But few storylines in recent memory have gripped viewers' attention quite like the unraveling tale of young Rachel Black. The daughter of two of Days of Our Lives' most infamous characters, Kristen DiMera and Brady Black, Rachel is not your ordinary little girl. This week, fans witnessed a whirlwind of unsettling behaviors, unspoken traumas, and what might be the calculated vengeance of a child molded by chaos. But the question that looms, and lingers long after the closing credits, is this: is Rachel Black a victim of her circumstances, or has she inherited the cold cunning of her mother? And more terrifying still, is she capable of a premeditated act of violence? A birthday cloaked in shadows. It all began, innocently enough, with a birthday party. Little Rachel should have been surrounded by balloons, laughter, and well wishes. But instead, she was visibly shaken. The joy that should have lit her face never came. Her hands trembled. Her eyes darted about the room, filled with unease. Viewers could feel the weight of anxiety pressing down on this child as if she were carrying secrets no child should bear. Some chalked it up to nerves. After all, the DiMera family isn't known for peace and quiet. But for longtime fans, the signs were unmistakable: something deeper was at play. Texts from a child, or a puppet master. Let us not forget that this isn't the first time Rachel has demonstrated disturbingly manipulative behavior. In a shocking twist, Rachel once sent threatening text messages to Ava Vitali in a calculated attempt to remove her from Brady's life. At the time, many assumed it was childish mischief. But in hindsight, perhaps it was the first sign that Rachel, despite her age, knew how to move people like chess pieces. She is, after all, Kristen DiMera's daughter. And while we should never define a child by the sins of their parents, it is difficult to ignore the unsettling similarities between mother and daughter. Kristen, a master of manipulation and vengeance, has passed down more than her name to her only child. The uncle who crossed the line. The story took a darker turn when E.J. DiMera, Rachel's uncle, made a fateful decision. In a ruthless attempt to save his own skin, E.J. kidnapped Rachel and shipped her away. Why? Because she was a threat to him, a witness to his own misdeeds, including the kidnapping of Rafe Hernandez. E.J. believed that removing Rachel from the picture would silence the truth. In doing so, E.J. made a powerful enemy out of a very small girl. Rachel's exile wasn't just a logistical move in a legal strategy, it was a betrayal. And like any DiMera worth their name, Rachel doesn't forget betrayal. When E.J. was later shot and nearly died, whispers began circulating. Had karma come calling? Or had a child decided to take justice into her own hands? A DiMera's blood runs cold when Kristen DiMera begged for Rachel to be returned to her. E.J. refused. His reasoning was clear: he believed both mother and daughter had conspired to destroy him. And in DiMera tradition, once trust is broken, blood becomes just another liability. Still, by refusing to reunite mother and daughter, E.J. not only prolonged Rachel's pain, he may have pushed her over the edge. Rachel adored her eccentric grandmother, Rachel Blake. With E.J.'s meddling, that connection was severed. Could this be the moment Rachel decided to repay pain with pain? Could this have planted the seed that led her to orchestrate a twisted revenge? Eye for an eye, the price of betrayal if you believe Rachel is vengeful, and many now do. Then what happened next follows a chilling kind of logic. E.J. took away someone Rachel loved. And in turn, Rachel may have decided to take away someone E.J. cherished, his son, Johnny. The theory gaining traction among viewers is simple but terrifying: Rachel orchestrated events to frame Johnny for E.J.'s shooting. Not because she truly believed he was guilty, but because she wanted E.J. to suffer the same loss she endured. A twisted trade. An eye for an eye. But there's another possibility. One even more heart-wrenching. The mind of a child, shattered. What if Rachel did pull the trigger that night? What if, in a haze of emotional distress, she picked up the gun and fired at EJ? And what if the trauma of that moment was so overwhelming that her mind buried it, fractured it, erased it? Could it be that Rachel genuinely believes Johnny was the shooter? That her memories have betrayed her, painting Johnny with the guilt her subconscious can't bear to own? If that's true, then Rachel isn't evil. She's a victim. A child suffering from PTSD, trying to make sense of a night too horrifying to remember clearly. Spoiled brat or broken soul? The central question now is no longer just about guilt. It's about the nature of Rachel herself. Is she the product of a dark legacy? A child taught by her mother to lie, manipulate, and destroy? Or is she a little girl, overwhelmed by trauma, trying to survive in a world where adults have failed her time and time again? Rachel could be both. And perhaps that is what makes this story so tragic, and so riveting. She's a child forced to play adult games. A girl raised in the eye of a hurricane. And now, the storm inside her has broken loose. What comes next? The truth may still come to light. Perhaps Rachel will remember what really happened that night. Maybe a piece of evidence will surface, one that shatters the current narrative and exposes who really held the gun. But whatever happens next, Rachel Black's story has become one of the most complex and haunting tales Days of Our Lives has told in years. Next, today's episode pulls us deep into the heart of the Brady family, as Roman, Marlena, and Kate rally around their grandson Johnny in a time of crisis. For those of us who followed these characters through years of triumphs and tragedies, this episode is a poignant reminder of the strength of family bonds and the weight of hidden truths. So, grab a cozy blanket, settle into your favorite armchair, and let's dive into the drama, heartache, and hope that unfolded in this gripping chapter. A Grandson's Burden. The episode opens in the warm, familiar setting of Roman and Marlena's home, where the walls seem to hold decades of memories. Both joyful and painful. Johnny DiMera, their beloved grandson, sits across from them, his young face etched with guilt and fear. His hands tremble slightly as he recounts the night that changed everything, the night his father, E.J. DiMera, was shot. Johnny's voice cracks as he confesses, "It's my fault. There was a bullet missing from the gun I brought." The words hang heavy in the air, like a storm cloud threatening to break. For Roman and Marlena, who've weathered countless storms in Salem, this is a moment that pierces their hearts. Their grandson, so full of promise, is drowning in self-blame. Marlena, ever the compassionate psychiatrist, leans forward, her eyes soft but resolute. "Johnny, listen to me," she says gently. "You didn't shoot your father. You couldn't have." Roman, standing by her side, nods in agreement, his gruff voice steady but filled with love. "Kid, you're not to blame for this. We'll get to the bottom of it, I promise." But Johnny's eyes are distant, haunted by the weight of that missing bullet. Just as he begins to respond, his phone buzzes with a text, a reminder of a meeting he can't miss. He stands, his shoulders slumped, and promises to return soon. Roman claps a hand on his shoulder, his voice firm. "Go to your meeting, but listen to us, Johnny. We're gonna figure this out. Together." As Johnny leaves, the room feels emptier, but the love and determination between Roman and Marlena are palpable. They've faced countless challenges as a couple, kidnappings, betrayals, even death itself, but nothing prepares you for seeing your grandchild in pain. Marlena's eyes glisten with unshed tears as she turns to Roman. "I'm so worried about him," she admits, her voice trembling. Roman, ever the rock, pulls her into a warm embrace, his arms a safe haven. "He's getting better, Doc," he says, using the nickname that's been a cornerstone of their love story. "Johnny's strong, like his family. We'll get him through this." The moment is tender, a reminder of why we cherish these characters, their ability to find hope in the darkest of times. A friend's steadfast support. Just then, Kate Roberts Brady steps into the room, her presence both commanding and comforting. She pauses, taking in the sight of Roman and Marlena's embrace, and her expression softens. Kate, a woman who's navigated her own share of heartache, knows the toll that family crises can take. "I didn't mean to interrupt," she says, her voice warm but tinged with concern. Roman waves off her apology and fills her in on their conversation with Johnny. "He took the gun that night," Roman explains, his hands on his hips, his brow furrowed. "But he didn't shoot EJ. He's sure of it, and so are we." Kate listens intently, her sharp mind already turning over the implications. She steps closer to Marlena, placing a gentle hand on her arm. "Marlena, we're both here for Johnny," she says softly. "But we're also here for you." It's a moment of profound friendship, a reminder that in Salem, family isn't just about blood, it's about the people who stand by you when the world feels like it's crumbling. Marlena manages a small smile, grateful for Kate's unwavering support. As Marlena excuses herself to gather her thoughts, Kate turns to Roman, her eyes gleaming with determination. "I don't mind you being there for her, Roman," she says. "In fact, I encourage it. She needs you now, and so does Johnny." A plan to protect their own. With Marlena out of the room, Kate and Roman dive into strategizing. Johnny's confession about the gun is a bombshell, and they know they need to tread carefully. "He needs to talk to a lawyer," Kate says, her voice firm. "Someone who can protect him if this gets messy. Maybe Carrie?" Roman nods, his jaw tight. Carrie, Marlena's daughter and a skilled attorney, could be the perfect ally. He pulls out his phone and dials her number, leaving a message with a mix of urgency and hope. "Carrie, it's your dad. We need to talk about Johnny. Call me back as soon as you can." As he hangs up, Roman sighs, running a hand through his hair. "I just wish Johnny had told us sooner," he says, his voice heavy with frustration. Kate nods, her expression mirroring his. "It's tough, I know," she says. "But think about it, Philip still hasn't told me the truth about Xander." Her voice hardens at the mention of Xander, a name that carries a legacy of pain for her family. "That's a surefire way to ruin both sides," she adds, her eyes flashing with resolve. The mention of Philip and Xander opens a new wound, one that's been festering in Salem for far too long. A mother's vow for justice. The conversation shifts to Philip's scam, a tangled web of deception that threatens to bring down everyone involved. Roman stands with his hands on his hips, frowning as he processes the stakes. "If one of them falls, they both fall," he says, his voice low. He suggests that since Philip seems to be in the clear, it might be best to let the matter drop. But Kate's reaction is immediate and fierce. "Never," she says, her voice like steel. "Xander almost killed my son, Roman. I will do everything in my power to make sure he pays." Kate's words are a mother's vow, born of love and fury. For those of us who've watched Kate evolve from a cunning businesswoman to a fiercely protective mother, this moment is a powerful reminder of her strength. Xander's actions have left scars on her family, and Kate's determination to seek justice is unwavering. Roman respects her fire, but his practical side urges caution. "We'll find a way, Kate," he says, his voice steady. "But we've got to be smart about it. For Johnny, for Philip, for all of us." The heart of Salem. As the episode draws to a close, we're left with a sense of unity and resolve. Roman, Marlena, and Kate, three pillars of Salem's history, are standing together, ready to fight for their grandson and their family. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with questions that linger like shadows. Will Johnny find peace, or will the guilt of that missing bullet haunt him? Will Carrie step in to guide him through the legal maze? And what will Kate's pursuit of justice against Xander mean for the delicate balance of power in Salem? For those of us who've grown up with Days of Our Lives, these moments are what make the show so special. The characters we love, Roman with his steadfast heart, Marlena with her boundless compassion, Kate with her fierce loyalty, are mirrors of our own struggles and triumphs. They remind us that family, in all its messy glory, is worth fighting for. As we await the next chapter, let's hold on to the hope that Johnny will find his way, that justice will prevail, and that the bonds of love in Salem will endure, as they always have. So, dear friends, let's keep tuning in, sharing our thoughts, and cheering for our favorite characters. What do you think will happen next? Will Johnny's meeting bring new revelations? Will Kate's quest for justice shake up Salem? Grab another cup of coffee, settle in, and let's watch as the sands of time continue to fall in our beloved days of our lives.